Hello everyone, welcome back to this session on GitHub. As I mentioned in the previous part one, so that was basically the theoretical part, and in this part two, we are going to have some hands-on experience on the GitHub Desktop. So this is going to be a demonstration on GitHub Desktop. So uh, So we are going to install GitHub Desktop and we are going to do some basic stuff with the GitHub Desktop. And let's see how we can do those stuff, right? So a quick introduction. So GitHub Desktop is one of the GUI clients that are available to interact with the GitHub without typing the commands. So I have discussed about this in the previous part one of this GitHub session. Anyways, so it's a widely used and vastly preferred platform in the software industry, which improves the team collaboration of the project, and most of the tasks that you want to do with GitHub can easily be performed with this GitHub Desktop without using any commands. Just with the visual confirmation, you can perform those tasks using the GitHub Desktop, right? So now let's see how to get started with the GitHub Desktop and how we can collaborate and contribute to the projects using this application. Okay, so uh, all right, so I have already installed this GitHub Desktop. So if you want to install it, you have to go to the official page of GitHub, and you can get the setup file from there, right? And once you downloaded it, you can just double tap it, and then it will start setting up the so it will start installing the GitHub Desktop application onto your machine. Okay. After that, you will get a welcome page, and it will ask you to sign in with your GitHub account. It asks that because you have to authenticate yourself, then only you can access your repositories. Or if you want to access others' repositories as well, you need to have a GitHub account, right? So you have to install the application and you have to authenticate yourself, right? Authenticate in the sense it will ask you to sign in, like you can give your sign-in credentials and get signed in. Otherwise, if you don't already have an account, you can create one, right? Using the sign up page. Okay. Now, okay, I have already created I have already downloaded and installed this GitHub Desktop application. Okay. Uh, so I have authenticated as well. Anyways, let's see. Here you can see several menus on the top bar of GitHub Desktop. So here click the file, and here you have new repository, add local repository, clone repository, and options, and exit. So I'll click this option. So here you can see, as I have already signed in with my account, as I have already authenticated, here my account is shown here. Otherwise, it will not be shown here. You have to click the sign in here, and you have to provide your credentials and get signed in, right? Okay. So that's about the installation and authentication. Okay. Now we have to configure, right? And we can customize this GitHub Desktop application according to our preference. Okay. So like go to these options again. Here, you can see we have given several options. Accounts option, integration, JIT, appearance, prompts, advanced. So let's see these, okay. So this account section, this is used to add or remove the GitHub account. So here you can sign in with an account, or if you want to sign in with another account, you can just sign out and sign in again with whatever the account you prefer to use with this application. And this integration option, it is used to select this external editor and share. So, all right. Okay, you can add the editors here. So as I have reset my PC, I think I have to install this editor again. If you have already installed some editors, it will be shown here, right? So you can select the editor that you prefer to use with this application. All right. In the meantime, I'll let it install the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is about this integration option. Then we have JIT options. So here you can see we can edit our configurations here, right? We can edit our name, the email address. We can choose whatever that we want. And here you can see default branch name for new repository. So you can choose the default branch name. You can choose it as master or main, or you can provide any other preference according to your project and your willingness. Okay. All right. Then we have another option, appearance. So this is about the themes. You can select the theme for the application, light theme, dark theme, or automatic theme. So if we select dark, it will be like this. Okay. Then we have prompt option. So prompt option is used to enable or disable the confirmation dialogues before some of the destructive actions, right? So here you can see removing repositories, discarding changes permanently, force pushing. So these actions are really destructive. If we have mistakenly pressed something to do this removing repositories or discarding changes, what happens? We have actually mistakenly um, uh, press that button to remove a repository and it's removed. So here we are selecting and we are giving we are enabling that it should show a confirmation dialog before just removing the repositories, before discarding the changes. Before doing all these destructive actions, it should ask, are you sure you really want to delete it or you really want to discard the changes? That type of things can be enabled or disabled here. Then we have another option as advanced. So it have more configuration options. You can go through it and you can get to know about it, right? And finally, you have to, if you have made any changes, you can save it, right? Okay. All right. So now we have seen the installation, authentication, and configuration or the customization of the app according to our preference here, right? Okay, now let's see how we can create our first repository using the GitHub Desktop application. Right? So once we after installing the application, it will prompt us a page like this. Okay, after installing an application, we will get a page like this, right? And here you can see here you can see we have 4 options here, right? So create a tutorial repository, clone a repository from internet, create new repository, add an existing repository. Okay. So let's see one by one. So create a tutorial repository means you can use this option to create and practice with a tutorial repository. Means you can create a repository and you can practice with it, but that repository will be private to your account only, right? Others cannot see that particular repository. You can't make it visible to other persons, right? It's just private to your account. Then we have clone a repository from the internet. So here, like you can get the repositories of others. You can get it cloned. You can use the URL to clone it, right? And you can use it for your development purposes and something, right? So that is cloning a repository from the internet. Then we have this create a new repository on your hard drive. Okay, so here what you can do, you can create a new repository for your account by providing the necessary details, right? It will ask some details. And add an existing repository from your hard drive means you can select the path of a repository on your local machine and you can start working on it, right? And once we click this, yeah, it will ask us the path for the existing folder. So you can select one folder and you can start working on it, right? So now we are going to freshly start, right? So I'm going to create a new repository, okay? So I'm going to click this, create a new repository on your hard drive, and it's asking some of the details. Okay, so what are these details? Name. Name means the name of your repository. You can provide any name that you prefer, but please provide something meaningful. Okay, then you can provide a description, like you can provide a small information about the repository, like the purpose of the repository or why you are creating this kind of a repository like that. But this is optional, right? And then local path. So this local path is the location where this repository will be saved in a local machine, right? And we have another small checkbox here. Initialize this repository with a README. So README file. So when we when we check this checkbox, it means we are allowing to create a README file. So that README file is something important. Like you can add some helpful information there. Like if you see most famous repositories on internet, you can see there will be a README file, right? There they will provide the title of the repository and why they have created the repository, how you can use that repository, how you can install the stuff there. All the things will be there in that README file, okay? So that file will be really helpful to you as well as others to use that repository, right? And to get benefit from that repository, right? So it's always recommended to create a README file with your repository, right? For your sake as well as to help others also. Okay. Then we have some other options like git-ignore license. So this git-ignore drop-down menu, you can see there are several options to select there. Like It's like it lets you add a custom file to ignore specific files in your local repository that you don't want to store in that version control tool. But for now, don't worry about it. And the license also, it's like you can add an open source license here by selecting one of the licenses. Here you can select an open source license here. So for now, we are just freshly starting to work with the GitHub Desktop now. So just don't worry about these stuff. Just keep them as none. It was the default option, right? So just keep them as it is. And now I'll give a name here. Like I'm going to give it as tutorial. I'll give it like that. Okay. This is the repository. All right. And if you want to select another path, you can click this choose and choose a new path. So I'll just keep it as it is, right? And I'm going to create this repository. Okay. It's creating. Yeah. Now we have created our repository. Okay. So So here it's asking you to publish the repository. Let's wait for some time before publishing. Let's get into some other stuff and we'll publish it later, right? We'll see what this publish means. Okay, now we have created our repository. Okay, so now there is an option like show in Explorer. Must there. So if you click this, it will open your repository in the file explorer, right? I'll do it. Give me a second. Alright, so it will open the file explorer here. Okay, so here you can see still we have not created any other files, so just the basic source file and this readme file are there. Okay, so now I'm going to open this readme file. Okay, let's see. So it is starting the readme file. It's opening the readme file. Okay. So here you can see I have given like this is a practice repository. Okay. I'm going to add another line here. Okay. I'll add like a repository. Okay. I will save it. Right. I'll edit the file and I'm saving it here. Okay, now I have made one change. Now let's go back to our GitHub desktop. Right? What happens here? So you can see here that the application is showing us the modifications that we have made, right? It's clearly showing us here, right? See, it has highlighted the lines I added with the green color. And since I have added the stuff, it has given the signs, the plus signs here, right? You can clearly see the plus signs here. And the added lines are highlighted in green. See how clear it is? It's just like in this case, it's just a small file. Even if it's not highlighted, you can understand. But if it is a bigger file with a long code, And if someone has modified, and it would be really easy, right? If the area that is modified is highlighted, then it would be really easy for us to identify what has happened. What's the recent modification? So you can see it's clearly shown here, right? So as we have discussed in the previous part, I would like to remind you something, that regular commits is a best practice in GitHub. GitHub. Okay. So regular commit is a best practice. Like it's better to commit the changes, even the small changes, as soon as you make them. Right? You can make this commits regularly. Right? So in order to commit the changes, here we have to come down. You can see here is a separate section. Here you have to give a commit message. Okay. On the bottom left side corner, you can see we have a section for commit. Here you can give a meaningful commit message, so that the person who is on the other side, I mean the other collaborators, if they see this commit message, they should understand, okay, she has updated this, she has done this. So that should be clear to them, right? And if you want to provide more information on it, you can add a description here. I'm just omitting it here, right? I'll just give a title, the commit message, and I'm going to click this commit to main, right? So here you can see it is showing commit to main, because main is the default branch that is chosen in the current branch section, right here. In this section, you can see main is chosen, so it's showing the commit to main. It's showing the branch that is already selected. Okay. If you have selected another branch, it will show the other name. Okay. All right. So here I'm going to commit it. Right. I'm going to click. Now you can see here at the very bottom. Here you can see there's a message committed just now, readme.md update. So it is showing us that you have committed now, and it is showing the title, the summary of the commit. Okay, the title, the commit message that I have given is shown here, right? So by seeing this, we can confirm that, okay, the commit process is completed. Committing to the main is completed, right? Completed in the sense, so I want to emphasize something here. So commit to main means you are committing your change and you are saving it only in the local repository which resides on your local machine for now, right? So you have committed and saved that change to the local repository that is on your local machine. But what we need actually, we need to have these changes on our online repository as well. Otherwise, there is no use in having a GitHub Desktop, right? If we are going to save the changes only on our local machine, why do we need some application like this? Right? So now we need to get these changes and modifications to our repository, which is residing online as well. Okay. For that, since we have created a new repository, first we have to publish that repository to our GitHub. Okay. This is now only in our local machine now. So now we have to publish it to our GitHub. For that, let's click this publish repository option here, or else here also you have that option. Click whatever you want, and it is popping up a window right? Sorry. You can change the name if you want, right? And if you want, you can change the what is this? A description, right? And you can see here there's a checkbox, keep this code private. So if this is ticked, it means it will keep this code invisible to public. Okay. If you don't select this option, other users on GitHub can view your code. Okay. Right. Now I will keep this stuff as default and I'm going to click this publish repository. It's publishing. Done. Okay. Now we have published our what? We have published our repository. Okay. Alright. Now let's see whether that repository is added to our account. So for that, I will get into my GitHub account. So I have already logged into it. Okay. So I will go to my repository section and I will check what has happened. See, ignore this image. Huh? See, here we have we can see the repository that we have just created. Okay, allow it, tutorial, readme, and see the readme file is there with the new modification that I have done as well. Okay, how easy it is. Now we have created a repository and we have made changes with the files and we have published that repository to the GitHub as well. Okay, so if you want to do this stuff with codes, think how hard it would be. Now it has become easy with our GitHub Desktop application, right? Okay. And another thing is here you can see it is denoted as private because I have checked that checkbox, right? Asking whether to keep this repository as private or public. I have given it as private now. So it is shown as private. Some of my other things are shown as public because those repositories are public. I have given the public access. So it's they are shown as public and our new repository is shown as a private repository. Okay, all right. Now, yes, yeah. Now you can see we have published it. So after publishing the repository, now let's say we are making another change and we are making another commit. Okay, so at that time, what will happen is we will get another option like push origin. Okay, so it means you are going to send those changes to your GitHub online repository. Okay, for example, now I'm going to add a new file. Okay, I'll go to that already opened file explorer and here I'm going to create a new text file. Okay, I'll give the name as test. Okay, I have created a new text file and I'm going to add some description there, like hi, welcome to the demonstration, and I'm saving it. Right now it's done. We'll go back to our desktop app. See, immediately we get the change on our application, right? Now, I'm going to commit it. Okay. I'm going to commit it as and I'm committing it. Okay, now we have been given an option push origin. Before clicking that, let's go to our repository, online GitHub repository, and let's refresh it. Let's see, have we gained that file? No, right? That file is committed and saved only on our local repository, on our local machine. It's not getting added to our online GitHub repository. Okay, so now let's see what we can do to get that onto our GitHub repository. Now, for that only, we have given an option here, push origin. Here as well, right? It means pushing the changes that we have made to the online repository. Okay. Now, let's click this push origin. Okay, it's done. Now let's go back to our GitHub repository. Let's refresh it. Now see, we have gained our test file here. We can see it by clicking it as well. Okay. Now, after pushing only, we are getting the new changes. Right? Okay. Right. Now, up to now, we have created a repository. We have created a file, saved the changes, committed the changes, published our repository. Then we have made a new change and we have pushed our commit or pushed our changes, right? That's done. Now see here, there is another option called fetch origin. What's that? So once you make some changes on your side, you are committing it and you're pushing those changes to the online repository. In the same manner, let's say in this project, there are 5 collaborators, 5 team members. So, like what we do, others will also do some changes on their side and they will push it to the online repository. But those changes will only be on the online repository. Those will not be on your local repository because they have committed only to the online repository. So, uh, so let's say you and another person are developing a feature together, and that person has developed develop a part of that feature, and you are developing the part of a feature, and that person has already developed his part, and he has changed his saved his changes to the online repository. So you, in order to develop your part, you need that person's part as well. So how do you get it? For that only, we have this fetch origin option here. Using this option, if there are any changes that have been made to the online repository, right, you can get those changes. You can fetch those changes into your local repository as well. Okay. For example, so since this is a private repository, I will do a manual change here on the online repository, right? Like I'm going to edit this test file again, right? I'll edit it here. Editing online. Okay. And I have to commit it. Right? Now I have committed the change. Now in our application, second, okay. So I'll go to the folder and I'll open this test file. No, it's the same file that we have created. So the new modification is not added, no? So now let's go to our application and fetch the origin. So it is giving you a message like full one commit from the original remote, full origin. So it's showing us that there is one new commit to that remote repository and it is asking you to pull that. Okay, pull and get that change or commit onto your machine. Right, now it's done. Now I will again open it. Now see, the new change is also there. Okay, you can see the new change as well. Okay, so here we have this changes section, right? So in this section, it shows the changes that you have made and you have not committed. Okay, once you commit it, it will be removed from the changes. Okay, before committing, those changes will be shown here, and in this bar, near this, there will be the number of changes that you have committed to your local repository as well. Okay, and here in this history, you can see the previous versions of the repository along with all the changes that we have made. So first one, so this is the first change, this is the first commit that we initially we created this stuff, okay, and then we have so I have first did a small modification to the readme file, so that is shown here. Then I committed the creation of test file, and then I have updated it. Okay, so you can see all the versions of this repository are shown here along with the changes, right? So this is called the version management tool. Okay, all right. So up to now, we have created a new repository and we have checked how we can make changes and how we can commit them and how we can push the changes to the remote repository on GitHub, right? And also we have seen how we can fetch the changes made by other collaborators onto our local machine, into our local repository on our machine. Okay, all right. Now let's see how we can. So we have now created and worked with a repository. Now let's see how we can clone a repository from internet. Right? What is cloning? Cloning means downloading a Git repository from an online platform to your local machine. Okay. So for that, first we need to have a Git repository on an online platform. Okay. For this, I'm going to use one of my friend's Git repository. Okay. So here there are several repositories. I will get into one repository. It's a public one. I'll get into this. And I should get into that with my account. Okay. I think I'm already a collaborator. Let's see. Okay, anyways. So to clone a repository, we have to go to the repository, right? Let's say I have gone to this repository for my account, and you can see here there is an option called code in green color, right? You can click that button and you can see open with GitHub Desktop or download it. So I'm going to go with the first one because we are seeing this demonstration with GitHub Desktop. So I'm going to open it with GitHub Desktop and it will be really easy, right? I'll click this. Now we are redirected to our GitHub Desktop and it's asking us something, right? So it is showing us, actually not asking us, it's showing us the details, the repository URL and the local path where it's going to save that repository. If you want to change the destination, you can choose it, right? And you can click this clone button. Now, once you click this clone button, that particular repository will be downloaded into your local machine and you can start working on it. Now see the current repository name here. Earlier it was tutorial, right? Now it is WebPro. So once we change the repository name will be changed. And here see the branch name, it's changed, right? So this particular repository is having these branches, okay? So the main default branch is this one, that's why it's selected here and shown. You can change the branches if you want, okay? So the branch name will also be changed according to the repository that you select. Okay, now we have cloned the repository as well. Okay, see, here also you have this option to clone a repository. Here in this file, you can select clone a repository and there's an option to create a new repository as well. So once you click this clone a repository, the same window will appear. Here you have to copy the URL and paste it here manually. Okay. Alright. Now we have learned how to clone a repository also. Okay. Now we have some other important stuff like external editor. Right? So the external editor can be chosen from these options. Integration, you can choose external editor. If you have installed several editors, all those will be shown here in the drop down menu and you can select the one that you prefer. Okay, so you can open the repository files with that external editor. Okay, that option should be shown here. I don't know why it's not showing. I'll close it for now. I'll open the desktop application again. So earlier it was not installed and I installed while using the application. That's why that option is not shown earlier. So here usually, this is the usual screen, right? You will get three options. First one, opening. It will show the external editor of your choice. In my case, it's Visual Studio Code, so it's showing it as opening Visual Studio Code. Here, second one, show in Explorer. It is to open the repository with File Explorer, and there you can choose the files that you want to open and see or edit, right? And third option is view on GitHub. It means it will open the repository page on the GitHub. On the online platform, it will open, right? So these are the options here. Yeah. So once you open it with the preferred external editor, you can start editing with it. So the normal procedure in doing a project is, so if we are collaborating using GitHub, right? So we can, so only one of the team member will be creating the repository online, right? And others can clone it and use it as we did just now. You can just clone it and you can make the changes here and you can push those changes to the online platform. Likewise, you can fetch the origin and get the changes made by others onto your system as well. Okay. Usually, we'll clone the repository and we'll open it with our preferred external editor so that we can work easily with these applications. We can easily move on with our project. Okay. All right. So, sorry. Now I will do some modification. I will do some modification to this about it. Yeah. So in this one, I'm going to I think nothing here. Yeah. Here, username, password. Here I will make a small change. Login with the system, and I'm going to save it. Sorry, save it here. Okay, we have saved it. Here in Visual Studio Code, if you have made some change, it will show something like this white dot. It means you have made changes and you have not saved yet. And once you save it, it will go. That dot will go. Okay. Alright. Now I have made a change in my one of the files in my repository. And now I'll go to my desktop application and see what has happened here. So it is showing that you have added a new code, new what do you call new text here, and it's showing the line that was there earlier in highlighted in red, and it's showing it with a negative sign, the hyphen, because that is now changed now. So it is showing that this line is not there now, and the new line is highlighted in green and it is shown with a plus sign. Okay, see how these changes can be easily seen, right? At a single site, right? You can see, okay, this is removed and this has been added newly, right? Okay, this is a simple code, but if it is a bigger code and if you have made several changes, really it will be helpful, right? At a simple glance, you can identify, okay, these are the changes made. Okay, so it makes it easy for the users to understand the places where the modifications have been done and the kind of modification, the whether a new feature is added or whether something is removed. Those type of stuff can be seen here, right? So, and in your application here, you can see this what do you call in this panel in the changes tab. See, as I said earlier, as soon as you make changes, the number of changes will be shown here till they are committed. Huh? Once they are committed, that will not be shown in the changes tab. And in the changes, you can see that one changed file, and the file is login.php, and they have denoted it with the yellow dot. What does that mean? Huh? So yellow dot means the files are modified, and there are some other options like there will be a red hyphen icon. It denotes that files are removed, that file is removed. And if you have a green plus sign here, it means the files are added. Okay, so you have to get to know those stuff, then it will be really easy to use this application. Okay, okay. So now you can follow the earlier steps to commit the changes. Okay, we have already discussed them. So I'll give a message, commit message, and I'll commit to the default branch, and I'm pushing it. Okay, so the thing is, I am able to push my changes to that repository. Now I'll go to my repository section and I'll see. Yes, let's go. Sorry, it's this one. Okay, now let's. So in the honor of, so once we do a commit there, the owner of that project, right, he will get the notification, and once he go to his repositories, he can see it's updated 1 minute ago. So it's showing the name of the person who has updated, who has made the commit, and it is showing the file that is updated. I'm already a collaborator. Yeah, I'm already a contributor to this particular repository. That's why there were no any issues while I'm trying to commit my changes to this repository. Okay, just the owner will be giving some notifications, and that's it, as I'm a contributor. So now let's see what will happen if we try to push our commits to a repository to which we don't have a write permission. Okay, it means I'm going to try to push my commits to a repository where I'm not a contributor. Okay, all right. So first, for that, clone a repository from GitHub, which you don't have write permission. Okay, I'll go to this repository, and I want to clone something that is, so we have another repository here. Okay, I'm not a contributor, right? Yeah, I'm not a contributor. Okay, so I will clone this one. Okay, I'll open it with my GitHub Desktop. The same stuff for cloning. I'll just give in the path and clone it. Okay, I'll done, right? Yeah, I'll open it with my editor. It's opening in a new tab, new window. So here we are loaded with all the files in that particular repository. Alright, I'll go to this index page. I'll see whether I can make any changes. Okay, university details can be viewed here. So I have made a small modification and I'm saving it. Go back to the desktop app and it's showing the modification that I have made. And I'm going to give the commit message as test update. Test update, and I'll give the file name. I'm going to give a description this time. Okay, so the default branch is master. So I'll commit to it. Push. So it's showing you a window like this. Do you want to fork this repository? It looks like you don't have right access to this particular repository. If you should, please check with the repository administrator. Do you want to create a fork for this repository at your GitHub account to continue? Okay, so I'll fork it. And it is asking whether you want to contribute to the parent repository or you want to do it for my own purposes, right? I'm going to go with the default one, contribute. Okay, and click continue. Now you can push. Okay, before that we'll go to our GitHub repository. Now see here, it's showing the new repository that we have forked and showing fork from the original repository name, original GitHub repository name. Okay, all right. Now I'll go back to the desktop app and I'll push the changes to origin. So this is what happens on our side when we try to fork a repository. So what would happen on the side of the owner? Huh? So we have fork. Fork means we are getting a copy of that repository and we are going to use it for our purposes. Okay. So in that case, on our side, we have seen, sorry, the new repository is added and it's showing that you have forked it from somewhere. Okay. Okay. And what would happen on the side of the owner of that repository? So this owner gets a notification here. Okay. There's one fork, right? Earlier it was 0. Sorry. Earlier it was 0 and now you can see there's one fork. Okay. There's one fork Here you can see there's one fork, right? And near that, here near this fork option, there you can see the number of forks. Okay, and once you click this fork option, you can see the person who has forked that, the account which has forked that particular repository will be shown here. Okay. Now I will make another change. Okay. Sorry. I'll make another change. I'll save it. It's saved. I'll commit it. Push it. Now let's go to our GitHub page. GitHub repository, online remote repository. Here you can see there's a message. This branch is 2 commits ahead of the original repository. What does that mean? It means you have added 2 commits which were not there on the original repository. Okay, that's what's shown here. So it means that the commits are the ones that are made by you, not by the owner of the parent repository. Okay, now click that one. So once you click it, it will redirect you to this comparing page. Okay, here you can see there's an option to create pull request. What's that? What's a pull request? What is a pull request? So pull request actually will allow you to inform the other people about the changes that you have made, the changes that you have pushed to a branch of the repository on GitHub. Okay, you can create and open a pull request so that then you can discuss and review the modifications with other collaborators. Okay, so I'll click this, and there's, you can see this window. Okay, create pull request window. I'm going to create a test pull request. And create. Now we have created a pull request. Okay, this is the request. This is the pull request, and we have started a conversation here. Right now, let's go to the owner's account and see he has gained a notification in the pull request tab. Okay, he will get a pull request. He will get a notification in this pull request, and see the pull request is shown here. Once you click it, you can see the pull request. Okay, he can the owner can merge the pull request, right? So that the collaborators can discuss and they can review on the code as well, right? So that those changes will also be those permits will also be taken into the parent repository. Okay, or else the owner can just close the pull request if the changes proposed by the other person are inappropriate or those changes are no longer needed. The owner can close the pull request. Okay, and so once you make the pull request, right, you can get that notification on your GitHub Desktop as well. Here you can see there is one pull request in this repository and that is shown here, test pull request. Okay, so that's about pull request. All right. So another important thing I want to discuss here is branches. So another important feature in GitHub Desktop is branch. Okay. You can use the branch option to separate your work from the work of other people. Okay. In other words, we can say that you can create a separate branch in order to develop a new feature to your project so that it gives you a confidence that you can work without any fear of causing errors. Whatever happens will happen in that particular branch only. It will not affect the entire project. So you can freely work with your newly created branch. Okay. And also, once you are working with your branch, you are not going to affect the entire project. Likewise, when you are working with your own branch, the changes made in other branches will not be taken into your branch. Keep that in mind as well. Nah? Alright, so once you feel like you have completed the work perfectly in your branch, then you can create a pull request to merge the changes you have made in your current branch into the main branch of that project, main branch of the repository. Okay, now let's see how we can create a new branch. Okay, here, click this current branch tab. Okay, in the branches one, you see there's something called new branch. Okay, click that button. So it will ask you that the name of the new branch. Okay, you can give a name that you prefer. Test branch. Click the create branch button and test branch will be created and you can publish it to your remote repository. Two branches. Okay. Default branch, master, and test branch is the new branch that we have created. Okay. So now we have successfully created a new branch also in our repository. Okay. So while we are working here, so yeah, as I said earlier, you can create a pull request if you decide that you have completely worked with this branch and there are no errors, you can create a pull request so that you can merge this with the entire project. Okay. So when you are working on GitHub Desktop, you can switch between the branches using this tab. You can click on this current branch tab and you can select the branches. So it will switch branches here. Okay. And also if you want to delete a branch also, you can do that here in this tab. So go to the branch that you want to delete, right click on it. It will give you options rename, copy branch name, delete. There you can select this delete option and it will ask you whether you want to delete the branch. So you can, if you really want to delete it, you can delete it. And here it will also ask you whether you want to delete the branch on the remote repository as well. If you click the checkbox, it will delete that branch from the remote GitHub repository as well. Okay, so this is that dialog box confirmation that is appearing before the destructive action. This is what we have talked earlier when we are talking about the options, right? Okay, so you can delete a branch like this. Okay, now there is another feature called partial commit. Okay, so when you have made several changes, right? You have made more than 50 changes on a file and you want to commit only 20 changes from there. Okay, to the online repository, you want to commit only 20 changes among those 50 changes, so that you can exclude those changes that you don't want to send, and you can send only the preferred changes. You can push only the preferred changes to the GitHub remote repository. So this is called a partial commit. You are not committing all the changes. You are just partially committing. Okay. So once you make changes in your editor and save them, you can view those changes here in this desktop application. So you can see the changes will be highlighted in blue. Okay. I will note again. Right. I'll go to this one. Department of Demography. And I'm saving. Okay. I'm removing it. I'm saving. Okay. See, these are the changes I have made, and the lines where the modifications were made are highlighted in blue here. You can see them clearly. Okay. So here I have made 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 10 lines highlighted in blue. Okay. So now let's say I want to remove this, I want to exclude this change and I want to commit only these changes. Okay. So what I want to do is, now I have to click on the lines that I don't want to commit. I'll click it. Now see that blue highlight is gone. I'll click it. It's gone. So now it's going to save only these 8 lines as the changed lines in the next commit. Okay. Now I will commit it. And you can see now this the area where I have made the modification and not committed is shown here. Okay, just leave it and push the commit so that it becomes a partial commit. Okay, in some cases this partial commit will be needed. Okay, that's why I explained that here. All right, now reverting a commit. So if you have made a commit and if you see that there's a problem, you can revert that commit. Okay, it means you can just make that commit is not there, right? right? It will go back to the previous version. Okay, so that is a option for that in GitHub Desktop. But keep in mind, reverting a commit is also a commit. Okay, it means once you revert a commit, the previous commit will be there in the version management. In the history, it will be there. But the reverting will be created as a new commit and that change will be removed and the file will go back to the earlier stage. Okay. So let's see how we can do that. Go to this history tab. Okay. And here you can see the changes, the commits you have made. Go to the commit that you want to revert. Right click on it. Here you have option revert changes in commit. Click that one. Sorry, there is an issue. Maybe because I cloned it, there may be some issue. So you can use that option, revert changes in commit to revert the changes. Okay, so that it will go back to the previous stage, previous version. Okay, so those were the basic things in using a GitHub Desktop. Okay. Okay, so up to now we have seen the very basic stuff from the beginning, like installation, authentication, and then we configured and customized the application according to our preference. Then we created a new repository and worked with it. We made changes and published the repository, and then we tried to push the changes, right? Then we cloned the repository and worked with it. We pushed our commits, and we also fetched the changes from the original file. We pulled the changes from the original parent repository, and we show how we can work with the um, external editor, how we can open the files in Explorer, and how we can view them on the remote GitHub page on the online platform, right? And also we have seen how to push changes, how to push commits to a repository where we don't have a write access, and we have learned what is a pull request, and also we have learned about the branches and commits, partial commits, and finally we have seen how we can revert a commit also. So these were the basic things that I wanted to show you in the demonstration. So hope this demonstration will be useful to you. So I recommend you all to use these kind of version management tools for your projects, for your future projects as well, so that it would be really helpful to you to work as a team. So hope you all learn the basic concepts about the GitHub, and you have gained a basic hands-on experience on working with the GitHub Desktop as well. Okay, so that's all for this session. Thank you all, and we'll see you on the next session with a new topic. All right, thank you.